The Galactic Council was a powerful organization composed of species from across the galaxy who believed they had the right to govern and decide the fate of lesser civilizations. To them, Earth was a small, insignificant planet on the far edge of the galaxy, home to a race of humans they viewed as primitive and reckless. The Council had tolerated humanity's existence for centuries, mostly because Earth was too small to pose a real threat. But as time passed, their tolerance began to wear thin. Earth's rapid growth and its unrelenting thirst for resources had drawn the attention of the Council, who had already been struggling with the challenges posed by their own powerful civilizations. One fateful day, the Galactic Council gathered in their immense, opulent chambers, high above their central star system. Representatives from dozens of alien species, each with its own unique form and abilities, sat in their floating thrones, exchanging whispered discussions in their complex languages. The Council was about to issue an official statement, a warning to Earth. The Council's leader, a towering creature with translucent skin, glided forward. He raised one long, bony arm, silencing the murmurs of the assembly. All eyes were on him. We, the Galactic Council, have observed Earth for many centuries. We have allowed this species, humans, to flourish on their homeworld. But it has become clear that humanity's unchecked expansion and reckless resource exploitation have begun to disturb the delicate balance of our galaxy. The leader spoke in a deep, rumbling voice that echoed across the room. His words sent ripples of concern through the assembly. Their technology has advanced rapidly, but their understanding of the greater galactic order is woefully insufficient. The room was filled with nods of agreement. Alien species, whose civilizations had existed for millennia, could not tolerate such wild expansion from a species so new to the stars. Earth's actions were seen as a threat, and the Council had decided it was time to take action. The leader continued, his voice sharp and commanding. We are officially warning Earth. The resources they are consuming belong to the galaxy as a whole. No one species should have the power to destroy entire ecosystems for their own selfish desires. As of today, we sever all trade routes to Earth. Human participation in galactic commerce will be banned, and any attempts to violate this will be met with severe consequences. A murmur of approval swept across the room, the decision made with a sense of finality. The Council believed they had acted justly. Earth would no longer have the opportunity to pollute the galaxy with its reckless ways. Humanity's place in the galaxy had been decided. They would be isolated and made to face the consequences of their actions. But as the Council members exchanged glances, there was one member who spoke out. An alien who resembled a large, armored insect stood up from his seat. His voice was harsh, his antennae twitching in agitation. Are we sure about this? We are dealing with a species that has already survived countless challenges on their own world. What if this decision provokes a response we aren't prepared for? The insect-like being warned. His words, though cautious, went largely unheard. The leader waved his hand dismissively. We have watched them for long enough. They are weak and divided. They may resist, but their efforts will be futile. We hold the power here. Humanity's fate is sealed. Back on Earth, however, things were unfolding very differently. The message from the Galactic Council reached humanity in a shockwave. It was a broadcast received by every government and private organization on the planet. Earth's leaders watched the transmission in stunned silence. The message was clear and cold, leaving no room for misunderstanding. The entire world was now isolated from the rest of the galaxy, and humans were being treated like children, punished for their progress and resource use. Yet what the Galactic Council failed to understand was the true nature of humanity. Despite the Council's arrogance and sense of superiority, Earth's leaders did not feel defeated. Instead, they felt a fire ignite inside them. This wasn't just a punishment, it was a challenge. It was an opportunity for Earth to prove that they were not a weak, helpless species. Humans had faced countless challenges throughout history, and this would be no different. They would fight back. Behind closed doors, in the deepest chambers of human governments and hidden military facilities, plans were already being made. The world's most brilliant scientists, engineers, and military leaders gathered together to create a response. It wouldn't be immediate, but it would be precise. The weapons they would create, the technologies they would develop, would stun the Galactic Council in ways they could never have imagined. Humanity wasn't going to simply accept their punishment. They weren't going to fade into obscurity. They would show the galaxy that even though they were young and small, their ingenuity, their will to survive, and their determination would make them a force to be reckoned with. And so, the first seeds of Earth's brutal revenge were planted. The Council had underestimated them, and humanity would soon prove that they were not as insignificant as the aliens had thought. The countdown had begun, and soon, the galaxy would witness the terrifying power of a species pushed to its limits. In the months that followed the Galactic Council's warning, Earth's response was carefully planned in the shadows. While the Council believed they had dealt a crushing blow to humanity, they had no idea that humans were already working around the clock to develop new technologies and strategies. The leaders of Earth knew that they had been underestimated, and they intended to use this to their advantage. The first step was to unify the planet. Governments across the globe set aside their differences, agreeing to work together toward a common goal. Old rivalries and borders were temporarily forgotten, and every nation, from the smallest island to the largest superpower, contributed to Earth's secret effort. The global cooperation that followed was unprecedented, with humans putting aside their petty disagreements to focus on the bigger picture: survival and revenge. Behind the scenes, in secure military bases and hidden laboratories, scientists and engineers began to develop advanced technologies. They didn't have the luxury of time, but their determination was unshakable. Earth's brightest minds worked tirelessly to design weapons and defenses that could match the advanced technologies of the Galactic Council. Humanity's first breakthrough came when they successfully developed a new type of stealth technology. Using a combination of electromagnetic fields and quantum physics, they were able to create ships that could remain invisible to the Council's advanced detection systems. These ships, smaller but highly maneuverable, would be the key to humanity's first strike. They were designed to be undetectable and quick, allowing Earth's forces to attack where the Council least expected it. Meanwhile, on the surface of Earth, a global network of communications and intelligence agencies worked together to gather crucial data about the Galactic Council's operations. The network, known only to a select few, intercepted communications between Council members, allowing humans to understand their weaknesses. As the days passed, humanity learned more about the Council's tactics, technology, and military structure. Every new piece of information was carefully analyzed and stored for future use. In hidden research facilities, human engineers worked on powerful energy weapons, capable of disabling entire fleets with a single strike. The weapons, while far from the advanced energy sources used by the Council, were deadly in their own right. The human military also began training elite soldiers in advanced combat techniques, preparing them for the worst. They knew the galaxy would soon come to realize that Earth had developed something it had never seen before: the human will to survive, backed by ingenuity and technology. But it wasn't just about weapons. The humans knew that the Galactic Council would strike first, so they focused on defense as well. They built an advanced orbital defense grid, made up of satellites and automated weapons platforms that could protect Earth from any incoming assault. The grid was designed to be self-sustaining, with its own energy sources and repair systems, ensuring that Earth's defense would remain operational even if the Council launched a full-scale attack. In addition to military preparations, Earth's diplomats worked to rally support from neutral alien species. Some civilizations had already expressed concerns about the Council's overreach, and humanity reached out to them, offering alliances and trade deals in exchange for protection. Though the Council had already isolated Earth, there were those in the galaxy who believed that no species should be forced into submission. These neutral species would play a key role in the events that were about to unfold. The secret preparation efforts were not without their challenges. There were setbacks, moments of doubt, and unexpected failures. But the human spirit remained unbroken. Every failure only fueled their determination to succeed. They knew that if they were to have any chance of facing down the Galactic Council, they would need to be smarter, faster, and more resourceful than their alien adversaries. In underground bunkers, military leaders began to form a plan for humanity's first move. They knew that an immediate, direct confrontation with the Council's vast fleets would be suicide. Instead, the strategy was to strike at the heart of the Council's most important trade routes, targeting the infrastructure that kept their empire running smoothly. This would send a clear message: humanity was not weak. They would fight back, and they would do so in ways the Council would never expect. As the final touches were put on the weapons, stealth ships, and defense systems, humanity's resolve grew stronger. They would not bow to the Council. They had no intention of being ruled by beings who saw them as nothing more than a nuisance. Earth would show the galaxy that humans were capable of great things when pushed to their limits. The stage was set, and humanity was ready to strike back. The Galactic Council had made one mistake. They had underestimated the humans. They had believed that cutting Earth off from the galaxy would break them. But instead, it had ignited a fire that would soon blaze across the stars. The quiet hum of preparation continued on Earth, unnoticed by the Council, as humanity prepared to make their move. And when that moment came, the galaxy would learn that even the smallest and youngest species in the universe could hold their own when pushed far enough. The Galactic Council had spent months confident in their decision to isolate Earth. They believed that by cutting off humanity's access to galactic trade routes and advanced technologies, they had quelled any potential for resistance. The Council's members, scattered across their far-reaching empire, continued their work with little to worry about. They thought they had already won. But on Earth, the first signs of something new were beginning to emerge. The humans, hidden from the Council's prying eyes, had made their preparations. Everything was in place: the weapons, the ships, the advanced technologies. The time for planning was over. It was now time to act. Humanity's first strike came quietly, almost imperceptibly. In the dead of night, a series of stealth ships, powered by the new cloaking technology, left Earth's atmosphere without a sound. They were invisible to the Council's sensors, gliding through the vast reaches of space undetected. These ships were smaller, more agile, and designed for speed. They were the first wave of humanity's response, and they were on a mission to prove that Earth was not as weak as the Council believed. The target, a key trade route that the Galactic Council relied on to maintain its control over the galaxy. It was a vital passage, one that supplied resources to several of the most powerful species in the Council. If the humans could disrupt this route, they would send a clear message that Earth was no longer a passive, isolated world. They were a force to be reckoned with. The stealth ships moved quickly, their engines humming softly as they approached the trade route. The human crews aboard these ships were highly trained and focused, each member of the team fully aware of the significance of the mission. They were about to take the first step in showing the galaxy that Earth had a voice, and that voice would not be silenced. At the center of the trade route, a massive fleet of ships from various Council species was stationed. The fleet was responsible for guarding the vital supply lines, ensuring that no one could interfere with the flow of resources. The Council believed that their forces were invincible, but they had underestimated one crucial detail: the humans. As the first stealth ship approached the fleet, it deployed a powerful electromagnetic pulse, EMP, that disrupted the communication systems of the entire fleet. Without warning, the Council ships were plunged into darkness, their systems scrambled and rendered useless. It was a bold move, one that had the potential to shift the balance of power. The human forces knew that they had only one shot at this, and they had to make it count. The fleet's commanders scrambled to regain control, but the humans were already moving. The stealth ships launched their secondary weapon, a series of high-powered energy beams aimed at the supply vessels that carried the vital resources. The beams sliced through the ships with precision, disabling them before the crews had any chance to react. The attack was swift, methodical, and devastating. As the Council ships floated aimlessly, struggling to restore their systems, the humans made their escape. They didn't stay to finish the job. The point had been made. Earth had struck back, and the Galactic Council was now aware of humanity's capabilities. Back on Earth, the leaders and military commanders watched the attack unfold from their secure command centers. There was no cheering, no celebrations. This was just the beginning. They had sent a message, but they knew that the Council would not take this lightly. The Council would retaliate, and humanity would have to be ready. The humans knew the Council would come after them. Their retaliation would be swift and brutal, but Earth had something the Council didn't anticipate: unity. While the Council's species were divided by their own interests and agendas, humanity had shown that they could come together when needed. This unity would prove to be their greatest strength. Within hours of the first strike, the Galactic Council convened in their grand chambers, furious over the audacity of the attack. The leader of the Council, a towering figure with shimmering scales, slammed his fist onto the table. "This cannot go unpunished," he roared. "We cannot allow a primitive species to disrupt our power. We will send the full might of the Council after them. They will regret this." But even as the Council members planned their retaliation, they knew something had changed. The humans had made their first move, and it had been far more successful than anyone had anticipated. Earth had shown that it wasn't just a weak, insignificant world. It was a planet that could fight back, using ingenuity and daring tactics that the Council wasn't prepared for. As the Galactic Council prepared for war, the humans on Earth were already working on their next move. They knew that the coming conflict would be unlike anything they had faced before. The Council's retaliation would be fierce, but humanity had already proven that they could stand their ground. The first strike was only the beginning. Earth had shown the galaxy that it would no longer bow to the whims of the Galactic Council. The fight for survival had begun, and humanity was ready to take on the universe itself, one step at a time. The Council would soon learn that even the smallest of species, when pushed to their limits, could shake the foundations of the galaxy. The Galactic Council, shaken by Earth's unexpected strike, moved quickly to retaliate. The attack on their vital trade route had caused severe disruption, and they knew they had to send a message to the entire galaxy. Earth had made its first move, but the Council was about to show humanity the full power of their combined forces. The Council's response was swift. A massive fleet, the largest the galaxy had ever seen, was assembled to target Earth. They deployed ships from various species, all equipped with the most advanced technology at their disposal. This fleet was designed to crush any resistance, and Earth was the first target. The Council's commanders knew that the human strike was not a random attack. It was a statement, and Earth would pay for it. On Earth, the news of the Council's retaliation spread like wildfire. The leaders, military commanders, and citizens knew that the time had come. Humanity had sent its message, but now the true test had begun. Would they be able to withstand the might of the Galactic Council? The human leaders held emergency meetings, analyzing the situation. Earth's defense systems were strong, but the Council's fleet was far more powerful than anything they had faced. Humanity's technology had come a long way, but they were still outmatched in terms of sheer numbers and firepower. However, there was one thing that the Galactic Council had failed to account for: the spirit of human resilience. The human military commanders were not intimidated. They had already faced the unimaginable with the first strike, and now they had to dig deep and fight back. Earth's newly developed stealth ships were ready, and the orbital defense grid had been fortified. Earth's soldiers, trained in advanced combat tactics, were prepared to defend their home planet no matter the cost. As the Council's fleet approached Earth's orbit, humanity launched a series of surprise counterattacks. Stealth ships, invisible to the Council's radar, darted between the massive warships of the Council's fleet, launching precision strikes on their weaker vessels. The humans had learned from their first attack. This time, they were prepared for the enemy's response. The Council's ships, despite their size and advanced technology, were not designed to deal with such unconventional tactics. The smaller, faster human ships were able to outmaneuver the larger vessels, striking them where they were most vulnerable. The battle was chaotic, with explosions lighting up the sky above Earth as both sides clashed in a fierce struggle. On the ground, humanity's defense systems went into full alert. The orbital defense grid began firing at incoming Council ships, sending powerful blasts of energy that disabled several of the larger ships. Earth's satellites, equipped with powerful weapons, fired upon the Council's fleet, causing further damage. The humans were not just defending their home. They were fighting for their survival, and they fought with everything they had. Despite the destruction, the Galactic Council's fleet was relentless. They launched wave after wave of attacks, determined to break through Earth's defenses. For every human ship destroyed, another would take its place. Humanity's ability to replace its losses so quickly surprised the Council, who had underestimated the resourcefulness of the human race. Meanwhile, the leaders on Earth held their ground, organizing the defense efforts and managing the flow of resources to ensure that their soldiers had the support they needed. The fight was far from over, but humanity had shown that they were more than capable of standing their ground. They had taken the first step, and now they were pushing back with everything they had. As the battle raged on, both sides suffered heavy losses. The Council's ships, despite their superior technology, were beginning to show signs of weakness. The humans, though outnumbered, had fought with a determination that was unmatched. The Galactic Council had never faced an enemy like this before, a species that, despite its relative youth in the galaxy, was willing to sacrifice everything for its survival. In the midst of the chaos, the human military commanders developed a new strategy. They knew that they couldn't win this war through brute force alone. Instead, they decided to use their greatest advantage, their ingenuity. Humanity's scientists and engineers had developed a new form of energy weapon, one that could disable the most advanced shields and energy systems in the galaxy. The weapon was still experimental, but the time had come to deploy it. As the human fleet gathered for their next strike, the Council's forces began to show signs of hesitation. The constant, unpredictable attacks were taking a toll. The once confident Council now found themselves caught in a battle they had never anticipated. Earth had proven that it was not the weak, defenseless planet the Council had thought it was. The stage was set for a turning point. Both sides were tired, but neither was willing to give up. The fate of Earth, and the entire galaxy, was hanging in the balance. Humanity had shown that it would not go down without a fight, but the true test was yet to come. Would Earth's determination be enough to overcome the might of the Galactic Council, or would the Council's superior forces ultimately prove too much to handle? One thing was certain. The war was far from over, and humanity had no intention of surrendering. The battle for the galaxy had just begun, and Earth was ready to face whatever the Council threw at them next. The war had reached a critical point. Earth had surprised the Galactic Council with its resilience and ingenuity, but the Council wasn't about to let a primitive planet stand in their way. Despite the setbacks they had suffered, the Council still held the upper hand in terms of sheer numbers and firepower. Earth was in danger of being overwhelmed, but humanity had proven time and again that it would not back down. On Earth, the military leaders were in constant communication, strategizing how to turn the tide of the battle. The Council's massive fleet was bearing down on Earth, and time was running out. Humanity's forces were stretched thin, and their supplies were running low. But they had one thing that the Council had never accounted for, a will to survive that could not be broken. The human forces, although outnumbered, had become experts at guerrilla tactics. Small, agile ships darted through the battlefields, striking the Council's larger vessels where they were most vulnerable. The human soldiers fought not just for victory, but for their very existence. Every move was calculated, every action taken with precision. The people of Earth were united, and together they faced the most powerful enemy the galaxy had ever known. The Council, meanwhile, was beginning to feel the pressure. The constant attacks from the humans were beginning to wear down their forces. Their ships were damaged, their resources stretched thin. The once feared fleet that had been poised to crush Earth was now being forced into a defensive posture. For the first time in the war, the Council's leaders began to question whether they had underestimated humanity. In a desperate bid to break the deadlock, the Council decided to launch a full-scale assault. They sent in their largest warships, equipped with the most powerful weapons the galaxy had ever seen. The goal was simple: to overwhelm Earth's defenses and force humanity into submission. But even as the fleet prepared for the final strike, something unexpected happened. On the edge of Earth's solar system, a new fleet of human ships emerged. They were sleek and powerful, far more advanced than anything the Galactic Council had ever seen. The ships were the result of months of secret research and development, a collaboration between Earth's best scientists and engineers. The new ships were equipped with cutting-edge technology, including energy shields that could withstand the most powerful Council weapons, and weapons capable of disabling even the most advanced enemy shields. The Council's leaders watched in disbelief as these new ships entered the fray. Humanity had not only survived, it had evolved. The once underestimated species was now fighting on equal footing with the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. The Council's leaders were stunned. They had expected to crush Earth's resistance, but now they found themselves facing an entirely new threat. The human fleet moved with precision, their weapons striking the Council's warships with pinpoint accuracy. The once mighty ships that had been threatening Earth were now being dismantled one by one. For the first time, the Council's forces were on the defensive. The tide of the battle had turned, and Earth was now in control. Back on Earth, the mood was tense but hopeful. The human forces knew that this battle was far from over, but they had proven something important. Humanity could stand toe-to-toe with the most powerful species in the galaxy. The fight was no longer about just defending their planet. It was about proving to the galaxy that Earth would never be silenced. The Galactic Council, realizing the seriousness of the situation, called for an emergency meeting. They needed to act quickly, or they would lose the war. Their pride was at stake, and they could not allow a lowly species like humanity to defeat them. The Council was determined to crush Earth once and for all. However, the Council's plans were complicated by a growing internal conflict. Some of the Council's members began to question the wisdom of continuing the war. They had seen humanity's resilience firsthand, and some feared that the cost of victory would be too high. Others, however, were more determined than ever to put an end to Earth's rebellion. The Council was divided, and the cracks in their unity were beginning to show. As the war raged on, Earth's leaders knew that they had to press the advantage. The newly developed ships gave them a fighting chance, but they needed to continue striking at the heart of the Council's power. Every victory, no matter how small, brought them one step closer to breaking the Council's grip on the galaxy. The humans knew that the war would not be won easily. The Council's forces were powerful, and they had already shown that they would stop at nothing to maintain control. But humanity had proven that it was not a species to be underestimated. The fight for Earth's survival was far from over, but humanity had shown that it would not go down without a fight. The battle for the future of the galaxy was reaching its peak, and humanity was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The Council had underestimated Earth once, and they had paid the price. Now, the humans were determined to show the galaxy that Earth would not be the victim of any empire. Not now, not ever. The war was about to enter its final phase, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The war had escalated to a level that no one had ever imagined. Earth, once seen as a small and insignificant planet, had proven itself to be a force to be reckoned with. The Galactic Council, which had once ruled the galaxy with an iron fist, now found itself facing a challenge unlike any it had ever encountered. Humanity had not only survived, but had fought back with a tenacity that shook the very foundation of the galaxy's power structures. The newly developed human fleet was proving to be the turning point in the war. The advanced ships, equipped with state-of-the-art weapons and energy shields, had taken the Council by surprise. Earth's defenders had shown that, despite being outnumbered and outgunned, they were capable of standing their ground and even driving back the powerful forces of the Galactic Council. But even as humanity's forces gained the upper hand, the Council was not ready to admit defeat. The decision was made to launch one final, massive assault, a last-ditch effort to break Earth's defenses and crush the human rebellion once and for all. The Galactic Council assembled its most formidable fleet yet, drawing on the strength of its strongest and most advanced warships. This time, they were determined to end the war. On Earth, the military leaders gathered in high-security bunkers, discussing the best strategy to hold their ground. The mood was tense, but there was also a sense of determination that filled the air. Humanity had come this far, and they were not going to give up now. They knew that the final battle would be their most difficult yet, but they were ready. The human spirit was strong, and it was about to be tested like never before. The Council's fleet arrived in Earth's orbit, a massive armada of ships, each one bristling with advanced weaponry. The human forces, although still outnumbered, had no intention of backing down. They knew that if they allowed the Council to land on Earth, it would be the end of their fight for freedom. So they launched a preemptive strike. As the battle unfolded in space, Earth's forces fought with every ounce of strength they had. The human fleet maneuvered with precision, using their superior agility and advanced tactics to strike at the Council's vulnerable points. The Council, confident in their overwhelming power, had underestimated the ingenuity of the human forces. The human ships, though smaller and less numerous, were incredibly effective at outmaneuvering the larger Council ships and exploiting weaknesses in their defense systems. The Council's warships began to fall, one by one. The human fleet's energy weapons tore through the once impenetrable shields of the Council's ships, disabling them with pinpoint accuracy. For the first time in the war, the tide was truly turning. The Council's commanders, who had once been so confident in their victory, now found themselves struggling to maintain control of the battle. Despite their advanced technology and overwhelming numbers, the Council was beginning to lose the war. Their ships, once seen as invincible, were now being torn apart by the human onslaught. The human fleet was relentless, striking fast, and then disappearing before the Council could retaliate. It was clear to everyone involved that the Galactic Council had severely underestimated Earth's ability to fight back. On Earth, the situation was just as intense. The human military had been preparing for this moment for months, and now they were carrying out their final plan to secure victory. Ground forces were mobilized in full force, protecting key cities and infrastructure from any potential enemy landings. The Earth's defenses were on high alert, ready to strike at any invasion attempt by the Council's ground troops. But the most crucial move was the final strike in space. As the battle in orbit reached its peak, the human fleet made its move. They targeted the heart of the Galactic Council's command structure, an enormous flagship, the symbol of the Council's power. It was a massive, imposing ship, nearly invulnerable with its advanced shielding and heavily armed defenses. But the humans had a plan to take it down. Using their newly developed energy weapons, the human fleet launched a concentrated attack on the flagship. The weapons were designed to bypass the ship's shields, focusing all their energy on the ship's core systems. The flagship shuddered under the relentless assault, its shields faltering. For the first time in the battle, the human forces saw an opening, a chance to deliver a blow that could cripple the entire Council's operation. With one final surge, the human fleet launched everything they had at the flagship. A massive explosion rocked the ship, sending shockwaves through the surrounding space. The flagship, once the pride of the Galactic Council, was destroyed in a spectacular display of light and fire. The loss of the flagship was a devastating blow to the Council. Their command structure had been shattered, and their remaining ships were now without direction or leadership. On Earth, the news spread like wildfire. The battle had been won. The Galactic Council, once thought to be invincible, had been defeated by a planet that was supposed to be insignificant in the eyes of the galaxy's ruling powers. Earth's victory was not just a military success. It was a symbol of human resilience, ingenuity, and determination. But even as humanity celebrated its triumph, the leaders knew that this was not the end. The Council was wounded, but it would not disappear overnight. There were still forces loyal to the Council scattered across the galaxy, and Earth would need to stay vigilant. But for now, humanity had proved that it could stand up to any empire, no matter how powerful. The battle for the future of the galaxy was not over, but Earth had shown the galaxy that it would never again be ruled by anyone but its people. The galaxy had changed forever. The human race, once thought to be insignificant and powerless, had struck a blow to the Galactic Council that no one would ever forget. The Council, now in ruins after their devastating loss, could no longer hold the same power over the galaxy. As Earth's leaders continued to work with their allies to strengthen this new era of peace and exploration, there was a growing sense of optimism. The galaxy was no longer a place ruled by fear, but one filled with endless possibilities. Earth had proven that no empire, no matter how powerful, could stand against the unity and determination of the human race. The war had ended, but the journey was far from over. Humanity had earned its place in the stars, and the future was brighter than ever. Earth's victory had changed the galaxy forever, and with that victory came the responsibility to ensure that peace, not power, would define the future. Humanity had shown that even in the face of overwhelming odds, it was possible to rise, to fight, and to win. And as the galaxy entered this new era, Earth stood as a beacon of hope and strength, a testament to the power of human will. The legacy of this victory would live on, and the story of how a small planet had brought down an empire would be told for generations to come. Earth had not just won a war, they had won the future.